Today's guest is returning to the show for the second time. He's a scientist specializing in physiology. Since our last episode together, he has finished his research in physiological monitors during hypoxia, now has a degree in human and applied physiology, and got certified in first aid. There's probably a lot more because he's one of the busiest people I know. So please welcome back to the show, Malik Al-Sharif. We were coming back from the gym earlier today.
Indeed,
and you told me a very interesting thought, and I think it's a good thing to bring up straight away. You said that people that have a better physical conditioning, that perform better in sports, that are more athletic, are overall more healthy. So how so? Talk to me about it. How's that a good indicator of general health?
Yeah, absolutely. Physical training and exercise is the hallmark of wellness, in my opinion, coupled by good habits in your life, such as eating well and sleeping well. But yeah, physical performance, physical activity is a good indicator, and how well you perform in them is a really good indicator of your overall health. Just think about it. The faster you run a 5K, the healthier your heart is.
Yeah.
The less likely you are to have cardiovascular disease. And yeah, that's the overall notion.
What do you think? Are there other nuances across like different ages? Like, is it the same? Would you look at it the same at a range of people who are 20, 30 as people who are 40, 50? Do you use kind of similar ways of measuring that? Or is that up until a certain age and then athletic ability is a bit of a different thing?
I think it goes across the board, and there are so many factors that come into play with that. I think any sort of physical activity the person is capable of will enhance their quality of life no matter the age group. Obviously, the older you get, your physical capacity declines. But I'm a firm believer, like if you train from a young age and you sustain it throughout your life, say you're like 70 or something, I think you could still find yourself running out there. Whilst you find people in their 70s who can't really get up off a chair.
Yeah.
You know, because you built that adaptation throughout your whole life. And I think it's meaningful, you know, your body's a temple, and if you don't treat it right, you're going to feel it later on. For example, I'm 23 and I strongly believe with these habits that I've built, I could be in good physical condition whilst I'm older, you know, touch wood and everything.
Yeah.
You know, as long as nothing goes wrong cellularly or health-wise, if you know what I mean. But
well, probably the whole sport activity levels that you do decrease the chance.
Absolutely, but you never know.
Yeah.
Sometimes things pop up and you can't really control that.
Yeah.
But yeah, exercise does decrease that likelihood, especially for certain aspects such as diabetes and cardiovascular disease.
Yeah. I talked to a guy who is 60, who is a colleague of mine, and he said that at a certain point he started training not to improve the results that he's getting, but to rather be able to keep doing what he loves for as long as possible. He is a hunter. He hunts, and that's what he likes to do. So whenever he trains, he adapts his time that he dedicates to training in order to be able to have better stamina and to, I don't exactly know, but maybe crouch and have precision. And he's not looking to get results that are higher, but instead he is looking to be able to continue doing this for as long as possible.
Absolutely. And you know, when you first get into exercise in general, health and wellness, there are several motivators that come into play. Some people would think, oh, I want to look good, I want to look jacked, you know, I want to get better at a sport. But overall, I think the most important thing that comes out of it, and something unfortunately a lot of sports people overlook, especially with the use of PEDs, is that
define PED?
Performance enhancing drugs such as, you know, steroids and that sort of thing, which have a detrimental effect to your health. I think one thing people overlook is, you know, at the end of the day, we exercise for longevity.
Yeah, that's the main goal for most people.
Exactly. And exercise has been proven and is shown to aid in that longevity. We look at some sports people, for instance.
Yeah.
All the best athletes who retired at like 40 or something. Ronaldo's 40 and still going. What's he known for? Taking care of his body.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, treats it like a temple. It's no coincidence, you know?
You train 6 times a week. What's your justification for putting so much time into training? Why'd you do it?
First of all, I love it. It makes me feel good. And if you feel good mentally, you feel good physically, and vice versa. Another thing is obviously there's the fact that I want to look good and stuff.
Yeah.
But another part of me is just, you know, also the older I've gotten, it's evolved from wanting to look good to wanting performance sports. My sport is football and running, so I want to be more explosive. I want to have greater endurance. I want to, you know, move better on the pitch. But the older I've gotten, the more I've realized I just want to move better generally when I'm older. I want to have a good base, a good foundation, a strong frame at an old age, not be frail or let's say delay the inevitability of being a frail old man.
Yeah. Actually, part of what you said already answered the other question I was going to ask, where it's important to balance like the physical with the mental. So
absolutely.
You put a lot of time in physical, and you study that. That's kind of your profession. Do you do anything for the mental aspect?
Well, when I was younger, I used to sacrifice my mental health a lot for you know, people pleasing others and stuff, wanting to see other people happy as opposed to myself. Recently, I've grown a lot out of that. And ever since moving to London and you're just living on your own, you realize, you know, I shape the life that I have.
Yeah.
So you just control that. And once you realize, generally in life, you know, it's not that deep. We're here for each other. Why not make this earth a good place for one another? And, you know, give each other a good time and, you know, help each other out. That gives you a lot of peace mentally. And I'm generally a positive person as well. So like, I don't like to bring myself down with things or such. So yeah, I guess that's how I sustain myself on a mental side. Just being positive is my mental gym.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I also find that the actual going to the gym makes a big positive effect on like the mental aspect of things. Mm-hmm. You said an interesting thing about that. Reminds me, a buddy of mine has just finally finished all of his studies, which so did you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're officially a doctor now,
No,
right?
I'm not a doctor. So, I'm a Bachelor of Science as of last year, and as of 2 months ago, I'm a Master of Science.
So can you officially call yourself a scientist?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a scientist, yeah. I've done studies, I've done labs.
Last time we talked, you were doing a study on hypoxia, right?
I was indeed.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, it is the effect on your body when you have more or less oxygen concentration in the air.
Yes.
Is that so?
Yes, hypoxia is when, so hypo means low, oxia means oxygen. So, you know, when you go to altitude and stuff like that, there's less oxygen, you breathe it in. There's a cascading effect where, you know, as you know, we require oxygen for cellular function and general function. When there's less oxygen, such function is reduced or impaired, and after a certain level, it becomes critical. And yeah, the study I did looked at the effect of hyperventilation whilst hypoxic at different altitudes, as you know.
To break it down, hyperventilating is breathing fast, right?
Hyper, fast, ventilation.
Breathing, right?
Breathing. So...
Why would you hyperventilate if you're... Oh, I guess if you don't have enough air, then you're trying to grasp
it's
more.
one of the body's compensations, hyperventilation. But our study looked at forced hyperventilation, where you consciously breathe in and out like a great deal. And we found that it had an effect at higher altitudes in SpO2, which is peripheral oxygen saturation, which is a reflection of arterial oxygen saturation. So yeah, hyperventilation does indeed help with hypoxia. And this is important because especially for people in the military, for example, who go to unpressurized aircraft such as a helicopter, where, you know, they're constantly moving and stuff. Because our study also looked at the effect of what happens when you're hypoxic and exercising, and we found that if you at higher intensities, SpO2 goes lower than
well, if you're exercising, you need more oxygen,
exactly.
right? So it makes sense.
Oxygen. So it does makes absolute sense, yeah. But the thing is, with hypoxia, there's a bunch of symptoms. It has like the symptoms are quite, there's a plethora of symptoms basically, and a lot of them they go in conjunction with a condition called hypocapnia. So hypo, low, capnia, carbon dioxide in the blood.
Okay.
Because when you hyperventilate,
Yep.
you're expelling CO2. You breathe in oxygen.
Yep.
The fun stuff happens in your lungs and your cells. CO2 comes out as a waste product. And CO2 has, carbons and stuff. So when you exhale, the acidity level in your blood, the pH in your blood goes more alkaline.
Right.
So it gives you a condition called respiratory alkalosis, and that can cause headaches and that sort of thing, which is also a symptom you'd get when you're hypoxic.
Interesting.
So there's this confusion, like especially with fighter jet pilots, they think they're hypoxic when they're actually hypocapnic.
So when you say if one person is hypoxic, that means they are breathing air that has a lower concentration of oxygen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what you just said is a person in a jet plane in a high altitude thinks they have low oxygen level, but it's their blood that is more alkaline.
Yeah, that's because they're hyperventilating. Yeah.
Right. And why is that caused? That's caused from the CO2.
Expelling CO2, less CO2, because you're breathing out the CO2 at such a rapid rate because you're breathing quickly due to the hyperventilation.
So you're kind of breathing in your own CO2. Is that
no,
the case?
No, that's not. You're getting rid of your own CO2.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. You're getting rid of your CO2 because
exactly. It's like shoveling dirt outside of a house. The house has less dirt, and the dirt is carbon dioxide. Man,
that's so interesting. It's so cool that you're doing this. And how long does like a study like this take? Like if you go from A to Z to publishing and making conclusions,
the process of the study was quite hectic because this dissertation that I had lasted 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Studies take way longer. They take, it's such a process. You have to get ethical approval. You need to recruit the participants. You need to set up a study design. Some things may go wrong in the study and you have to revise a few things.
Yeah.
And you have to do the write-up. You have to, get it approved and looked at and peer reviewed. And then it's published, and once it's out there, it's out there. But the whole process roughly takes a few years. Like the study we did, we worked with a PhD student, and that study is meant to come out in a year and a half, probably.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I found about hypoxia in a pretty random way because I've known what hypoxia is when we last chatted on the podcast, but I didn't know it as well. I found, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I forgot the name now. There are these chambers which have a high levels of oxygen. Do you know what they're called? Those things.
I'd imagine they're just called hyperoxic chambers.
That's exactly what they're called, in fact. Hyperoxic. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the opposite of hypoxia.
Anyway, I found out that a couple exploded like in Scandinavia, and I looked into it. But apparently people are using it to like cure all sorts of issues and try to improve their health in various different ways. And
oxygen therapy is, it can help, but everything is nuanced. There's no miracle out there like where you're just like, oh, let me just jump into a hyperoxic chamber and boom, all my problems will be solved.
Or a couple episodes I was telling a buddy of mine that I bought air in a can and I was very excited for it. Oh, you rolled your eyes. Exactly. Yeah, and that's exactly where I was going with it, because I was excited because it had this great marketing, how good pure oxygen is for you. And then it arrived and I felt really stupid because I just paid £15 for a can
of air.
Of air. Yeah. And I tried it and it didn't do anything, and which it's probably not supposed to. Like it's probably supposed to like have an accumulative effect. That's probably not a good way of doing it though. It's
funny though, because like it reminded me of a cartoon I watched when I was younger. I don't remember.
What was that?
I don't remember the name whatsoever, but I vividly remember they had to like their water essentially was cans of air.
Their water was cans of air.
Their water were cans of air. Like the water was like air was something you had to buy, for basic survival.
Was that back in Saudi? Is it?
No, it was like it was an American cartoon or something. Like, because growing up, we were exposed to so many Western things. And
that's
stuff,
cool.
So. Yeah, so that just reminded me of that, and I just wanted to point that out.
I haven't seen it, but that's really fun. I used to watch a bunch of cartoons with Avatar when I was younger. I was really into that. But yeah. So I was going to ask you about these hyperoxic chambers.
Yeah.
Do you know much about them? What are they like?
Honestly,
what's the purpose?
I don't know too much about them, but what I can tell you about breathing 100% oxygen is that, sure, okay, it has its benefits. If you're hypoxic, it can help you. You know, some people like who even get ischemic hypoxia due to myocardial infarction, heart attack, and stuff. It can help, but if you're totally fine, I don't think there is a big need to, because breathing 100% oxygen can cause cellular death.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, they were recommending
because breathing 100% oxygen can cause radical oxygen species to develop.
And it's toxic,
and that's
isn't it?
toxic, yeah. It can cause cell death, yeah.
I mean, the thing it was recommending that you work out and you breathe 100% oxygen. That way your, is it red blood cells are a little bit more powerful. That was the idea behind it.
Red blood cells carry hemoglobin, which carry oxygen.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, but I mean, if you do breathe 100% oxygen whilst training, I would imagine you would feel on top of the world.
Yeah, okay.
Training.
So you think that it has a point? Because I was ready for you to expose this whole thing and say how.
It would have a point, but at the same time, it's like, why? Why?
That's a good question.
Because say you're training for a sport, yeah?
Yeah.
If you get used to that sort of exposure, you're not going to get used to the difficult part, let's say.
Yeah.
I firmly believe, like, if you want to train and get better at something, you need to make it harder on yourself.
Yeah.
Make yourself hypoxic and train. Go to altitude and go for a run. Keep doing that. Your body will adapt. More red blood cells, enhanced oxygen capacity, erythropoietin being released, and that sort of thing.
What's erythropoietin?
Erythropoietin is basically what causes more red blood cells to be born.
Oh, okay. That's a good thing, because again, more
erythropoietin causes erythropoiesis to happen. That's the process of red blood cells being born.
Is that a good thing or a bad?
That's a good thing. Again, anything in science is nuanced.
Okay.
It's a good thing in the sense that, you're adapting to the situation, but it can make you polycythemic, which means if you have a lot of red blood cells, your blood gets thicker.
Yeah.
And what happens when your blood is thicker?
Oh, what is it?
Flow gets more difficult.
Oh,
yeah, so it's like a counter effect almost.
I have got this condition where I've got a funny story. So I wanted to every year do like a very detailed analysis of my blood with 57 different biomarkers. Good, and I decided to save some money, and I ordered those home testing kits. And I've ordered one where I had to pierce my finger and massage it a little bit, and then the blood will start flowing into a little tube. And what happened is 2 drops came out and then it stopped and no blood came out. And then I ordered a different kit, which looked a little bit more like something I could use. It was like a shoulder, it was like a little machine that you put on your shoulder, you stick it there, it shoots a needle, and then over the course of like 10 minutes, blood slowly drips out again into a little container. Anyway, it all didn't work. I dropped a little bit with blood. Blood went everywhere. Glass went everywhere. I went and actually got it done at a regular clinic. But I found it interesting. And then some doctors there kind of tried to explain it, so maybe you can as well. If some people have a certain disposition to have less blood flow if they're being cut, and that doesn't mean they're dehydrated, because the first thing that when this happened, everybody asked me, well, did you drink enough water? And I did. I made sure that I drink before it. That's kind of the whole idea of making it flow. But if I just have a cut or something like that, then blood doesn't gash in the same sense as it should. So I know that's not a bad thing. So do you know about it? What's that about?
Well, there are different types of bleeding. You have, because the random cuts you get and stuff, they're tiny. They're at the capillary level, base of your skin. Very superficial, harmless.
Yeah.
Just disinfect it and cover it. arterial bleeding is life-threatening.
Yeah.
Venous bleeding is life-threatening. It's when you puncture an artery or a vein and blood just starts.
Yeah.
You can tell the difference between an arterial bleed and a venous bleed.
Is it the pressure?
No, it's the way it comes out, because artery is coming from the heart.
Okay.
So it comes out like a heartbeat, like.
Oh.
Whereas venous bleeding comes out as if it's a fountain, because veins return blood to the heart.
Yeah.
So it's going at a constant flow.
Interesting.
You get what I mean? But yeah, thing is, like, I get what you mean with the whole blood flow stuff, especially at the extremities, at the fingers and stuff. It's not just dehydration. Dehydration plays a big role, because the more hydrated you are, the more fluid there is, blood volume increases. It's also to do with temperature too. If you have cold hands, good luck with circulation in your extremities.
Oh, interesting.
And we live in the UK, like our hands are freezing all the time.
Wow.
So if I go out now and my hands are gonna get cold, and I walk into a clinic for a blood test, they're gonna really struggle. So what's best to do is like squeeze your hands, get some blood in there, maybe run it under some warm water under the tap, and you'll find that blood will come out.
Interesting. I started this whole topic because I was thinking of the whole, if there's more red blood cells, then maybe the blood flow decreases or something along those lines. Is that at all the case, or am I imagining things?
No, not necessarily.
So what are you working on now? What's the next? You finished your work in hypoxia. Any interesting studies coming up?
Nothing.
What's the plan?
I'm in an interesting moment in my life where I finished both my degrees. And I'm looking to stay in the UK and work, but still, like, I'm in this limbo where I'm just waiting. I've applied for my postgraduate visa. I'm waiting on that. I'm trying to do some courses in the meantime to occupy my time.
You're doing some cool courses.
I did a first aid course today, which was fun.
Congratulations! Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, you said you already knew everything, and it was just.
It was quite easy, if I say so.
I mean,
a lot of it was common sense.
You have got 2 degrees. The first aid feels like something you must have covered in one of the two.
The thing is, like, today, like, it had to be like strictly you're a first aider, not a medic.
Yeah.
So I was answering questions with like such technical details and like the names of conditions in a scientific manner and everything and why it happened. She's like, we don't care about that. We just care about treating the scene. And I'm like, oh, fair enough. Okay.
Well, we went to the gym before the beginning of the recording, and I felt safer there now that I know that I've got a first aider next to me.
Well, if you go into cardiac arrest, God forbid, I know exactly what to do.
I know you mentioned that you're into aviation now. That's one of the, I think it's 17 different courses that you need to complete. So you're on your way to flying a plane.
Oh man,
why did you get into it?
I don't think I'll ever fly a plane.
Why not?
Oh no, just the whole, it's just so technical to the point it kind of throws me off. I like driving, so I'll stick to the ground.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate, the technicality behind aviation, what happens up there. And I think it's very cool how such a big piece of metal just
so when you said
suspended, not suspended in there, but like moving through there at such ridiculous speed, it's insane.
The physics behind it is really fun and interesting, and how it all works. So when you said you're into it, are you just like studying what it's like, or are you looking?
I mean, I know the physiology of what happens up there because of hypoxia, because you get slightly hypoxic there. But I just think it's. Look, when I was a kid, I was very interested in like airline liveries.
Yep.
Like how they looked and stuff, how every airline had a different color and all that.
Oh. And
I think that's kind of come back to me like in the last few months, and I've been watching a lot of aircraft videos, like, on YouTube, where they just, explain how a plane works, what the pilot does, why he does it, in the event of an emergency or like, God forbid, a crash. What happened, how it happened, what caused it, how did they prevent this?
Are you secretly waiting for that moment where somebody asks, is there a doctor on the plane? And you can put your hand up? Is that a secret dream of yours?
If I'm not a doctor, so...
Sure.
But now I'm a first aider, so, so there's something at least.
I finished that first aid course.
Yeah, I know. One day and then I have this boom, cardiac arrest. I got you.
Oh, man.
Hypovolemic shock. I'm your man, you know.
And have you seen that recent crash that happened in India? Have you been on
Oh,
top of
yes,
that?
yes.
Yeah. That was an interesting one.
tragic, yeah.
It was tragic, and also like I was kind of following it week after week because they uncovered it quite slowly. And it's interesting because I think right now they're changing some rules because of it to make people go through some extra levels of psychiatric assessments before they fly planes. And certain, I think it's something, I'm not sure about that, but I think something about the fact that there was a school with kids on the same trajectory as a runway. They're now making rules so that there's a certain distance between schools or places of PIs,
like
points of
airports,
interest.
between airports, just in case.
So not airports, but specifically the same trajectory of a plane taking off. Because the interesting part is like the building that the plane crashed into was a straight line from it. While, like for example, in Europe and in the USA, most like there are things around the airports everywhere, but they kind of try to be a little bit away from the takeoff areas, which is impossible if there's like 15 runways. But most airports have like maximum 6, so you can get away with not being in a straight line from them.
Yeah, because the interesting thing about aviation disasters is it mostly happens either during takeoff or during landing. So the areas around the airport, if you know, because there are quite a few crashes like that happened around an airport, and it was just more tragic because people on the ground. Because you never think to yourself like, oh shit, a plane is about to impact this building.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely tragic.
London has such low planes everywhere. That's cool.
That's because London has so many airports.
5. Not including the air
the thing
drums.
is, like, they say it's part of London, but Gatwick isn't even in London, and Heathrow is barely in London, so...
it should
Luton isn't even in London. Luton is its own town.
Is it actually?
Yeah, it is. The only airport we have in London is,
City,
which is practically in the middle of Canary Wharf, Stratford. If you go to Canary Wharf and Stratford, because the planes take off and land near it. It flies so low, you're like, whoa. But obviously, there are regulations and stuff, they have to fly at certain altitudes.
Remember that place we played golf at?
Yeah, I remember that.
You win the game if you hit the plane.
I think if we got a professional golfer and like he just swung his hardest shot, he can actually like maybe the passengers could see the ball.
If it's landing, I can see that working out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
Can we talk about the potential place where you might be working or not so much?
I guess so, we can maybe.
So what are you thinking? Are you going to be working for a football club moving forward?
I mean, that's my dream. Like, working in the sports science department of a football club is my absolute dream. I've always wanted to be in that environment and
what does a person do? Like, because obviously, like, we know how football clubs work. People play. If they get injured, somebody comes on the pitch and helps them. But that's
those are pretty much like medics and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But like a sports scientist role is more behind the scenes, working on like how players can improve their performance on the physiological level. Assess them physiologically. That sort of thing. Because if you enhance the way your body functions, you enhance your performance output in a sport.
Have you read Atomic Habits by James Clear?
No, I haven't.
It's got this theory about like if you improve everything by 1% over time, you become like twice as good as you were before. That gives you a competitive edge.
Absolutely.
So what's something that you think, because I'm sure you spent some time thinking about it, some footballers can do to perform? I play football, not at a professional level, but let's say professional footballers.
As do I.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like what like some practical, I don't know, tips, applications that somebody in that position can help clubs with?
I guess, understanding what goes on with their body whilst asleep could be a big indicator.
So that like education for the actual...
nutritional education, hydration, picking up good habits, like how to train adequately. Yeah. Balancing between, gym work, mobility, endurance, on the pitch drills and stuff. You have to find that balance physiologically to give you that edge. and every club has different methods. Some clubs focus more on the athletic side,
Right.
whilst other clubs focus more on a technical side, like, on the pitch work and stuff.
Yeah.
And each give their own results, so some teams are known for being, powerhouses, just like able to play 90 minutes constant pressing and stuff because, they're trained
I
to do
think
that.
Stoke City is one of those teams.
Man,
which
Stoke are they've been relegated years ago. But Stoke,
But remember them? Like
Stoke back in the day used to have a pretty massive team.
Yeah.
Their players were pretty tall and well built. So
Yeah.
they're a very classic English team. Where crush that guy.
Also horrible weather wherever they're based.
Stoke is up north. It's like pretty close to Manchester, so yeah, it's a northern club, and you know how they are up north. They're very nice and everything, but no nonsense.
No. So, well, any specific reason? You said it's like a dream come true to do such a thing. Why do you want to do it?
Because I've always been a football fan growing up, so just being in that environment, going to the training ground, parking, going in, setting up all the equipment in the labs, and just looking at physiological data and analytics in general, and just seeing like the staff and all that come together as one unit to bring the biggest success you can to the team, and elevate their level. I just think that's pretty amazing.
Well, I really hope next time you come back on the show, first thing I hope that you won't have to drive for 6 hours from somewhere up north like Stoke City, and that whatever club you're with is maybe a little bit more London based.
There's one club which I won't mention the name of that we're trying to see if they're willing to bring me in, so we'll see.
And they're far from London, or
they are far from London. That's all I'll say. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the first thing I hope, that you're going to be a touch closer to us, because don't leave London. It's one of the best cities.
I love it here. I love it here. I mean, it's home for me. I mean, it's second home after Saudi, of course. But when you're in a place for 4 or 5 years and you make so many friends here, you just grow into it. And every time I'm away, I'm homesick towards London. When I first moved here, I never thought I'd say this, because the first year was, naturally tough.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up with a good education, good English and all that, so it was fine from that regard, of course. But weather-wise...
oh my God, of course.
Yeah, I don't know. It was different. Because I'm well-traveled and stuff, so I love seeing different places and living in different places. So... yeah, but the UK was a bit of a shock for the first few months. After that, I took it into my stride, and now I love it here. So.
Well, talking of aviation, London is so well connected. That's something I really like about it.
It's the center of the world. Like Heathrow, Gatwick, so many airports everywhere.
You want to go anywhere, there's a direct flight to it. You can take it 15 times a day. There's so many destinations going anywhere.
Going to Europe is so easy.
Oh yeah.
Going to New York, for example, is only 6 hours. Going back to Saudi is 6 hours. And I've done that flight so many times.
My tennis teacher is also a solicitor for a bio, what is it called? What are those companies called that you develop medicines? A biotech, that's it.
Biotech, pharmaceutical companies. No?
And she goes to New York and back, sometimes 4 or 5 times a month. And it's just a quick weekend trip, and I would think it's so far away, but actually, London makes it feel close. Yeah. Just going there and come back.
Mm-hmm. I've done that trip as well, from New York back to London.
I can't wait to go to New York. I just got my visa.
Have you heard they're bringing back the Concorde?
What's that?
Basically back in 20 years ago, I think.
The fast plane?
The fast jet subsonic plane, yeah.
Tell me more. I did not know.
Yeah, as we know, the Concorde was a subsonic plane, commercial plane.
French, was it?
I mean, it was predominantly used by Air France.
Okay.
The reason it stopped was due to a crash that happened to an Air France Concorde. But... yeah, it flies higher than normal, your standard Boeing 737, 777 and Airbuses. Normally these planes would fly 38,000, 40,000 feet, whereas Concordes would fly, roughly 10 to 15,000 feet higher, I believe, or thereabouts. So yeah, they're just super fast. I saw a couple of videos on YouTube from the inside of the cabin, and you just look out the window, and it just looks like, you know.
Do you want me to give you a scary fact?
Oh, tell me.
Let me ask you first. How many flights a year do you take?
Oof! Wow, I never thought of that. I'd say.
And I promise it's none of that like environmental guilt.
Yeah,
It's not
sure,
that.
sure.
That's not where I'm going.
No, you're gonna call me Taylor Swift or something.
No, I promise not. I take 45, so it's...
Okay, I think I'd say I take around 15.
15 flights a year.
Yeah, 15.
So if I have somewhat of my math right, 15 flights a year is equivalent to about 2 X-ray chest scans, which is
radiation.
quite a significant amount of radiation.
Yeah, I know.
If the Concorde is flying higher, that would probably double the amount of radiation.
I mean, yeah, the higher you up,
the
higher you are up in the atmosphere, the more solar radiation there is, and less protection from the ozone layer. So.
Exactly. So I wonder, I was thinking about it the other day. I've never heard of anyone linking travel and air flights with higher rates of cancer level. So you're a scientist. So what do you think of this thesis? I know that if you go and you get sun exposure naturally, as long as you get it within reasonable amounts, well, you do get DNA damage. Your body actually successfully recovers that DNA damage.
That's true. Yeah.
It's not permanent. It's that when you get that sunburn and the damage is quite high, that's when it becomes a bit...
sunburn. That's why sunburn. That's why you should wear your sunscreen.
Yeah.
Always. For people who say like, oh, but I want to get tanned.
No.
You still get tanned with
right. I don't get.
What I like
it.
to do is I put sunscreen.
Yeah.
I put tanning oil.
You don't need a tan, man. You've got a great.
No, that's because I got tanned.
There we go. Got it.
Yeah.
But here's my question: if you fly, I don't know, a couple times a month, but you don't take one 40-hour flight. That will, give you all this radiation. But instead you have, a couple flights here and a couple flights there. Is it the same for your body as getting all that radiation all at once? Or does your body kind of,
all at once is definitely worse.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, all at once is definitely worse.
Because if you just measure
it's
the
higher
units...
exposure. Like the net exposure is just higher.
But what matter? Do you think net exposure like in a year matters more, or does the
I think singular exposure matters more and can cause more damage than like infrequent exposure.
Well, now you make me feel better. Thank you. Because I'm not reducing the amount that I'm flying, but
I mean, I love traveling, so
yeah, it's worth it, whatever is the consequence. So but I've calculated that mine is between 7 to 9 chest x-rays a year, with the maximum recommended dose of being 2 x-rays chest a year. So if I'm quadrupling that dose, it's a little bit concerning. Well, but then again, my hope is that...
pneumonia.
Hopefully not.
I probably shouldn't be saying that.
No.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's on the topic of going to New York and back. I've not been to the US, but I got my visa now. So.
Oh, you definitely should. It's a whole different world there.
Yeah.
I've been East Coast, West Coast.
Have you ever thought of practicing science, and what is the accurate term? Because again,
practicing science. Yeah.
But you're doing a sub niche of science, which is not physiotherapy.
Not physiotherapy. Let me emphasize.
Physiology.
It is physiology.
Physiology.
Human science. How the body functions and how it functions under different diseases, environments, and conditions.
Have you ever thought of doing that in the US?
No.
It's a good market there. Good money.
No.
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 UK.
I mean, I love it here, but I don't see myself long term. Long term, I see myself back home.
Saudi and back home.
Mm-hmm. Right. As a Middle Eastern man, that's your calling.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. You always end up back home.
Saudi is growing incredibly. I can't wait to visit. But the things that you told me about it, and from all the other sources, it's going to be like the next big thing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Country is heading into an exciting direction. I recently visited the capital, Riyadh.
Yeah.
And, I grew up in Saudi, but I grew up in Jeddah. So, I grew up with the Jeddah lifestyle and everything, but...
I'm not familiar. How big is the city?
I mean, it's big in the sense of population, but in comparison to like Riyadh, it's tiny compared to Riyadh. But Jeddah is chill. It's like easy going, you have the beach, You have big cafe culture there, many restaurants. Everyone pretty much knows each other. Or like, say you meet someone,
Yeah.
that someone is definitely a friend of a friend, or like
Nice.
someone in your family knows their family. Just that vibe, which is very cozy. But Riyadh is a whole different ballgame. Riyadh is like Dubai, more or less.
Wow.
Metropolis, like.
Before we started
It's insane.
recording, we had a little chat about the idea that your level of physical ability
Yes.
is directly linked to your overall well-being.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about it again. What do you think of that? And you also said that potentially you can see yourself opening a clinic in Saudi. I don't know if I should mention that on air.
Yeah.
Tell me about that link between your overall physical sports abilities, athletic abilities, and your general health.
Well, it's all about the adaptations, especially on a cardiovascular level, as I mentioned a few minutes ago when we started. The more you run, let's say,
Yeah.
for instance, let's take running. The more you run, the adaptations are a slower heart rate, lower blood pressure. Lower blood pressure equals less damage to your arterial walls when your
Okay.
heart beats. So that's good.
Okay.
And,
Lower pressure is
yes,
good, right?
and a lower heart rate, as long as it's induced as an adaptation due to exercise.
And you're not dying.
And you're not actually clinically non-exercise bradycardic.
Yeah.
That's good. That means your heart is working efficiently. Mine, for instance, when I sleep, goes below 40, 39.
Which, if I'm correct, is pretty low.
It is very
right?
low, yeah.
What's the average a person gets when they go to sleep?
Depends again on their physical well-being.
Like,
The
let's say
healthier you are, the lower it is generally.
Okay. Like, what's an average?
For the
do you think?
average person, say,
30-year-old
a
male.
30-year-old man doesn't really exercise, it would go to maybe 58,
Right.
that sort of thing. But yeah, let's actually find out what my
Let's have a look at it.
What my pulse is. It's
Yeah.
probably high because there are cameras rolling and that sort of thing.
Yeah. And where I want to go with the.
Yeah,
This-
it is higher. It's 71 at the moment.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, your pulse right now.
That's because I know I'm being watched
Oh.
by the masses.
I should probably hide the cameras and make it feel more coffee scene like.
And I have a tendency towards anxiety, but
There's a funny saying in Russian where just because you think you're being watched doesn't mean you're not being watched.
just because you think you're being watched does not mean you're not being watched.
Exactly.
Explain. My mind just
No,
Yeah.
it's like a bit of a comic one, but where sometimes people are like, oh, but like not people don't usually say that, but like if you're anxious that somebody may be watching you, and you're aware of that, doesn't mean that's just anxiousness. It could also be true. Just a funny little play on that.
So it's like a sixth sense.
Something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
It could be a sixth sense.
Like I think that's something that actually happens. Like you ever just like feel like someone is looking at you, but they're not in your line of sight. Then you just like turn around and you just see someone looking at you.
Yeah, I don't get
It's
that
odd.
exactly.
Like that's very strange. I don't know what's the functional mechanism behind that, but
Have
very
I told you
interesting.
about the study of sweat?
Sweat. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it's a quick disclaimer, a little bit like disgusting if
I sweat
you're not on
every
it.
day.
Yeah, do 6 times a week training. Of course, they've done this study which I found very interesting, where they took people's sweat samples when. And there are 3 groups, right? So the one group did skydiving, one group were running on a treadmill, and then there was a control group that were just sweating naturally. And they made other people smell these sweat samples, and they asked them to talk about how this smell makes them feel. And it's a bit of a crazy result because there was a standard deviation of people saying emotions that are close to fear or anxiety or worry from the group that did the skydiving.
Interesting.
And the people that were on a treadmill said something along the lines of calmness and clarity and stuff like that. And the control group didn't have either of these two. And
that's so bizarre.
Right.
That's so interesting. I need to find this. You need to send me the study.
I've not read the study, but I've heard other people talk about it multiple times. But it's interesting, and I can totally get behind this. Like, at least from an evolutionary point of view, I can just imagine like some really advanced cavemen that have their sixth sense. Like, if you see other people sweating for the wrong reasons and running away because their camp is being attacked, you kind of want to make sure you understand that you got to join in the team.
Evolutionarily, it makes sense.
Yeah. But it also explains the whole sixth sense, because sometimes, very often, like at least in the business world, people are like, I can feel it in my gut. I know that's the case. I don't know why, but I just know I don't have to make this deal.
Yeah.
And then they end up being correct, especially people that are like have a bit more experience and they trust it.
Yeah.
It's not magic, right?
Yeah, but also there's this part like where you feel like you're worried for no reason.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh, I have a bad feeling about this. No, I don't wanna take this course. I don't wanna move to the city, and then you're fine.
Yeah. I think that's something that like I'm learning with age, trying to like find the distinction between unjustified anxiousness and justified worry. I think a lot of emotions are also mixed together a lot. Like tiredness, worry, anxiousness, and fear are kind of like right next to each other. And sometimes, especially like if it's late in the evening and you're a little bit tired and you're a little bit worried about something coming up, and then you're describing it as anxiousness, but it's not that. I think that's something that with age you kind of detangle, and that makes you better at the whole living aspect.
Because that anxiousness, if you're happy, could turn into excitement. Yeah, whatever it may be, the fact you're about to deal with it and say, yeah, I'm gonna sort this out. I'm gonna get this over and done with.
Yeah.
But another night when you're, as you say, feeling tired or anything, you might be, oh no, I'm not. This is gonna be so bad. The implications are gonna be detrimental and such, you know.
And that's why I think it's really important to know the difference between what you're feeling, like name it to deal with it. Because if you don't know the difference between scenario A and B, and you just don't feel all that great, but you don't know exactly what it is, and you can't figure it out in you, then it's harder for you to deal with it. Because like you said, in the first case, you actually need to act, while in the second case, you need to go sleep.
Yeah.
And it's complete opposites, isn't it?
Yeah. Human mind is interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. It's such a complex jungle up here.
So on physiology side of things,
yes, we will divert back.
What do you think are some practical tips that you can give people related to the whole general well-being and general athletic abilities that linked we talked about earlier?
I just, people think like, when they go to the gym and stuff, they have to be Olympic athletes to be healthy. They have to, bench 100 kilos, squat 120 and that sort of thing. But the essence is, if you just move your body, you'll be fine.
Moving.
Yeah, moving is fine. You're not a competitive sports person. You're not looking for that extra edge. Just aim for longevity, move better. Your body was designed to move.
Any quirky things like standing desks or 10,000 steps a day or some other trendy shit?
10,000 steps a day is a good one.
Really?
That is a good one, I think. But they say 10,000, but it's not like, if I hit 9,999 steps, then I didn't walk enough. It's all subjective. The whole idea is to just walk more, just move more. Someone could already walk only walk, say, 3,000 steps a day. If you increase it to 6,000 steps, good on you.
Right.
If you walk 10,000 steps a day and you want to say, now I want to walk more, 15,000, 12,000, good on you.
Or running them instead of walking them.
Yeah, or like going for a run, But the thing is, like, frequency is important, you know? That's the thing. Like, we can't just take that away. If you want to get good at something and actually have an effect on your body, you need to be consistent with it. There's no two ways about it.
What do you mean by frequency? In what scenario?
Just like doing it often, like, say, even once a week, twice a week, just, go for a run, go to the gym, just get your body moving, like, challenge your body. Your muscles crave movement.
And how about on, at least maybe like from your personal experience, not so much from a physiological point of view, but maybe from a psychological point of view, do you think that most people have the best results of improving their physical ability if they have like a dedicated scheduled time, or if they find something that they fall in love with, or like are some strategies to look out for rather than just, signing up to a gym membership?
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah, I get the fact that the gym isn't for everyone. I totally understand that. And again, I circle back to the point, just move.
Yeah.
And for some people, this may be playing tennis. For some people, this may be playing football. For some people, this may be hiking. For others, it may be walking their dog. Whatever it is, just as long as you enjoy it, like genuinely enjoy it, you're going to stick to it. I genuinely enjoy the gym. I genuinely enjoy playing football, seeing my friends getting good or better at the sport. And I enjoy running. I enjoy getting faster and stuff like that, and how I feel whilst I run and after I run. That's why I enjoy it. It's not like, I have to go to the gym. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
I feel really good afterwards. So I chase that high, and, people can fall into the gym addiction.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I'm
It's a real
definitely
thing.
in that category, because unfortunately, if I have to miss a session, say if I'm injured or something, it really plays on my mind. Because I've reached a point where like I've advanced so much through the years, where like I feel like any time off would just be bad for progress. But then I tell myself, no, this is just a period where you have to focus on recovery, and you'll come back strong. Your muscles aren't gonna wither away.
Yeah, of course.
Your heart isn't gonna go into cardiac arrest for not exercising. So
Let me throw another scientific study at you, which you may or may not agree with. I can't remember if it was Mike Menser or Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of the famous ones. They said that they were going to the gym and they had a plateau, and they were trying for 2 years to overcome it. And then they went on a long holiday and they didn't train for 3 weeks. Came back, couldn't perform as well, went 10% under their usual metrics. But when they built up that strength back, they were actually to exceed it and reach a new peak, which they couldn't reach after all that time.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. There are many different ways to beat a plateau. Say you plateaued at a certain lift. Let's say you've plateaued at the squat, for instance. And on that weight that you've been doing it for months now, it just doesn't go up. You go a weight up, the first rep feels like a house.
If you live in London, you're not going to want to skip this one. Life gets stressful, and most of us just push through the tiredness, telling ourselves we'll deal with it another day. But if you want to keep performing at your highest level, you have to take time to take care of yourself. One of the best ways to do that? A relaxing Balinese massage or a hammam ritual right in the heart of London at 7 Bali Spa. 7 Bali Spa is my own business that I launched in 2022. We have over 250 reviews on Google with a 4.9 star average. And for my listeners only, I'm giving out a 25% discount for any treatment during your next visit. Use the code HANGOUT when booking. So come for a treatment to 7 Bali Spa and get 25% off using the code HANGOUT. Now, let's get back to the show.
So tell me about the plateau. A person's doing that squat.
Squatting, and just like adding weight just feels so insanely hard. There are many methods you could follow.
Right.
One method is to start dedicating more time to training squats.
Okay.
So say you squat 2 times a week, maybe you want to squat 3 times a week, just to, because frequency brings results, as they say. Another method could be to drop the squat even.
Okay.
And focus on strengthening your quads in a different way. And just, basically specialize squat prep training, whether that be doing tibialis raises, doing sled pushes, which are excellent for your quads and overall power production. or enhancing your spinal erectors for that sort of thing, or just improving the mobility in your legs and stuff like that.
Right.
Another one would be to eat more, get
Interesting.
heavier, to
Get
lift
heavier,
heavier.
yeah.
Another one is also to just like rest. Yeah, because sometimes, especially at such a high level, when you plateau at a high level, it's really, really hard to increase it. So
feels
yeah.
counterintuitive.
It does
to
feel
stop.
counterintuitive, but like that rest does give you wonders. And that's something I tell myself if I can't train for like a week.
Yeah.
I tell myself this rest will be fine, and lo and behold, I remember I once had earlier, like last year, I had a pectoral injury.
I remember, yeah.
Like here, like in the middle of my right pec. And I could not bench press whatsoever.
Oh,
and for some reason, I could dip fine. My dips were okay, although the dips involved the chest. But like it felt completely fine.
Interesting.
So I was like, okay, I can't bench. Let me focus on dips. I started doing weighted dips. And this ties into what I said, by the way, about doing other sorts of training to have a carryover effect. I started training my dips. I got better at them. I started adding weight to my dips, got better at that.
That's so cool.
And then when my chest felt better and I benched again, the bench was flying.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
And the carryover effect from a dip to a bench press is insane.
I find it interesting how sometimes, I think it's human dependent, like different people experience it differently. Some exercises you're just so much stronger at than others.
Yeah.
Like I got a shoulder injury on my right side, on my right shoulder. And because of it now, if I do the bench flat, I am experiencing a lot of discomfort and a lot of pain while I'm doing it and afterwards as well. But if I just put the bench at 45 degrees, it technically hits the shoulder more.
That's
but it
odd.
hits the right muscles in the shoulder that, I don't know, it activates better. I don't know. I feel zero discomfort.
That's very strange.
Right? You'd think it would be the opposite.
Yes, but I also think maybe you should bench with a narrower grip when you're bench pressing flat.
Really? What would that change?
That would involve less of the shoulder and more of the tricep.
Yeah, more of the tricep.
Because I have shoulder issues myself. I dislocated my left one when I was 16.
Oh.
So when I used to wide grip bench press, because I'm the opposite of you.
Yep.
Incline bench really messes up my shoulder.
Oh,
so I only
interesting.
flat bench.
Interesting.
And I remember when I adopted a narrower stance, sure, it involved more tricep and, inherently made it a weaker lift because, a wider grip brings more chest fibers. But I loved it. And in conjunction with the weighted dips, my triceps have improved so much in the last year. Like I'm very pleased with them.
I had to try it because I also find it difficult to activate triceps. One of the other things I wanted to talk to you about, which we briefly touched on also before we jumped on air, is the use of anabolical steroids and and other things like hormonal therapy. A lot of people that do use it speak really highly of it. But then everyone that I know that has anything to do with science just have the same reaction as you right now, where they don't like it. So why do we not like it? By the way, I'm not using it. I'm just curious in the topic.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. You always see these people like on social media and stuff just wanting to promote an image and a body standard that is totally unachievable. Naturally at least. Steroids are a danger. They will always be a danger. And just because I just wish people were more clued up about the endocrine system and how hormones work.
Endocrine system is the hormones.
Hormonal system,
right.
Yes. Testosterone is produced by the testicles. And when you inject testosterone, your testicles say, oh,
I don't need to produce
there's testosterone already like in the vicinity. You might as well stop producing. What happens? They shrink.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's why you see so many bodybuilders with,
Yeah.
like genuinely.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, no, it's not a joke. It's like, it's like, it sounds funny, but like that's the truth. And it's not just that. because like when you go off it, it's called negative feedback. When you inject something and then your body stops producing it, it's called negative feedback.
Like if your body is so used that it doesn't need to produce a testosterone
exactly.
because
That's
it's coming
negative
from it,
feedback. Yeah.
and then you stop ingesting testosterone, your body doesn't produce it again.
Yeah,
right?
because the organs that produce it withered a bit.
Yep.
Yeah,
So like, it should be coming by itself.
it's
Where's the
like
next
a
portion?
factory that got destroyed.
Yep.
That's what it does,
Yep.
So I want you to imagine I want you to imagine it like this.
Right.
Okay, there's this factory in your city.
Yeah.
It produces the good things for you and
Yeah.
stuff. And then suddenly there was a bazaar, like a whole market from a lot of like foreign investors. They brought shops and stuff, and they gave everything, and no one cared about the factory that you have.
Uh-oh.
So the factory, lost its employers and just started functioning and operating less. And then eventually, when that market bazaar left, that factory is in bad condition.
All right, let me be the devil's advocate. So what happens if the market never leaves? What happens if people, especially that use the things such as, I don't know much about anabolic steroids, but I know testosterone is a big one. I know there's many that specifically...
Human growth hormone.
Hormone, right?
Yeah.
Then there is the ones that make your veins pop. What's that one?
It's also an anabolic steroid.
And what does that one do?
Mimics the effects of testosterone pretty much.
All right. Like, what if you don't go off it? Especially since there's a lot of times where people are over the age of 40 are recommended by some doctors, not by all of them, to, what is it, supplement hormones? What is that called?
If you keep going on steroids and stuff, what do steroids do? The most obvious thing, what do they do?
Well, muscle, right?
Yeah, they enhance your muscle size, don't
That's
they?
right, yeah.
You know what else is a muscle in your body?
Your heart?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and what happens if you keep taking steroids? The heart muscle grows and grows.
And you can love the whole world with your big heart.
Yeah, you'll be a big-hearted individual. But that's dangerous.
All right, interesting.
Yeah, you could get heart failure from
I
that.
always thought...
That's why loads of bodybuilders who jump on anabolic steroids, you always find them, this guy passed away and stuff.
Yeah, I actually thought it was coming from a different point of view. I thought it's because your muscles...
They push too much in the gym and their muscles are too huge.
Exactly. I thought because your muscles are so big, to supply oxygen to the muscle, you need a lot of blood to be pumped to that.
That's true. That's also
so
true.
Your heart works twice as hard.
Your heart is larger and it works harder.
Okay,
that's a recipe for heart failure or cardiac arrest.
And what do you think about the whole hormonal, not replacement, but doing it in a tenth of a dose of what?
Look, I think
like for health reasons.
For health reasons,
older.
say if you're older and your hormones are like all over the place and stuff. Small doses should be fine, but look, I'm not advising anyone medically, or anything. Thing is, like, you would know if it's fine based off of your blood work, and if you've seen a GP for this case. If you just go into the black market and get testosterone and be like, oh, I'll do the smallest dose just because I think I have lower testosterone when it's actually fine, especially for your age, then that's stupid.
Yeah, of course.
You have to be prescribed.
You know what my problem...
It's like going and taking antibiotics for the hell of it.
Yeah, for fun.
Why? Why? When you don't need to, you don't have an infection, why would you take antibiotics?
My problem with prescriptions, especially like you said, if you go and visit a GP and they recommend you something, is that if you have access to a GP in, let's say, different countries, like me, for example, I've got a GP here in London, but I've got one in Cyprus. I could go to South Korea and do a medical checkup there. I would get somewhat different advices based on what the standards of those countries are. I would be prescribed, for example, antibiotics much easier in Cyprus than I would in the UK. I would be prescribed a hormonal treatment in South Korea significantly sooner with significantly more normalized levels than in Cyprus and the UK together. So sometimes you also have to, like, obviously make some kind of an educated decision based on your GP's recommendations. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, you should. But then again, I think you should follow your GP's recommendations because you should basically not get a second opinion from a different country. I think you should get a second opinion from the country that you're actually in, just because if something goes wrong with you,
Yeah.
your history is there.
Yeah.
You know, you get what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah, I think I do. What if there are different approaches and you're just, because like in a world where both GPs have the same information about you, and you do get that second opinion, how do you?
I would go with a third opinion.
Okay.
If you have two different opinions, then I don't think it's wise to just throw names into a hat and just pick one out.
That's
I
the
think
worst idea for
it's
sure.
worth getting a third and fourth opinion and seeing the unanimous direction that's being headed.
That's my
toward.
worry, because if those opinions are geographically separated, I find that the opinions of people differ so much when it comes to medicine. And I don't mean I mean actual medicine, where even the US and the UK will have different like lines of work, not going into something like traditional Chinese medicine.
But I don't think these differences would be so substantial to the point that you're going to be like, oh my God, there's such a massive disparity between the two recommendations, you know? Because medically, there's always going to be a line. Physiology is physiology, the human body is the human body.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same in the US and it's going to be the same in the UK. An American has the same physiology as an individual from the UK,
Absolutely.
you know? So, you know, that's just my 2 cents on it.
We talked about stem cells on our last podcast as well. Do you want to go over that topic again?
Sure, I'm not too clued up on stem cells, but I think they're quite excellent.
Because that's another one of those examples which, like, I think many doctors in general have a good opinion of.
It's just the way you bring about stem cells is considered sort of unethical because it comes from embryos.
Oh yeah,
that's why there's such a big question mark over it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How does it come from embryos? Remind.
I just know it comes from embryos.
Just from embryos.
I don't know how, but like I just know it comes from embryos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't do much stem cell physiology, so.
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about the things that that are coming up next for you.
What's coming up next for me?
Man.
Yeah, just I want to do as many courses as I can.
Which other ones?
I want to be overqualified.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, just so any employer that sees me is just like, yes, this guy. Because I'm very passionate like about my field. I want to work. I want to, because for me, if I work as a physiologist in a football club, it's not gonna feel like work for me. It's gonna feel like pleasure, you know. And I think that's very important in life. So I'm quite excited about that.
Have you heard of that Confucius saying? If you find work that you love, you won't have to work a day in life.
I've heard that many times.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, big ups Confucius. But just see what opportunities come by and, you know, which one is the best. And we'll go from there and start the next chapter of my life. Who knows? Maybe in like 3-4 years I'll be married. Working a good job, you know, back in Saudi and stuff. Yeah. Because at this age, like, things change so quickly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah.
I think that it's nice when no year is the same. And by the time that years start becoming maybe a little bit more similar, I'll be looking forward to it.
Yeah, when there's this consistency, I guess. People find it boring, but if you enjoy your life and you enjoy life for what it is.
I'm slowly getting into like a bit of a habit of a consistency. Like I've definitely worked out that winters in the UK are not my thing, and I'm trying to find a way to escape to somewhere more sunny and get my vitamin D.
I get that. I used to be like that, but now I think it's important to see the beauty in everything.
Oh, tell me more.
Look, I love the sun.
Yeah.
I can't stand darkness. But like I told you earlier when we were on the way to the studio, London by night is so special.
Oh.
And it being winter time, which brings the night sooner, makes you experience that charm London has at night more often.
Yeah.
Because during the summer, I love summer here. It's my favorite time of the year here. but the days feel so long. It's like the opposite.
Oh.
And it's funny because humans can never be satisfied with the current state,
Of course.
you know?
Of course.
You always want, oh no, I want the other thing. Oh no, I want to improve, you know? It's interesting. Again, the mind.
Sadhguru, which is a very, very... he has a really good explanation for it. He says, imagine if you're in a box 2 by 2 meters. Have you heard of this before?
No, I haven't, no.
And then he says, imagine you really try hard and you push that box and you manage to open it up and it's 4 by 4 box. And then you continue and then you push it out more and it's a 16 meter box and then it's a 32 meter box. At which point do you stop pushing out the box, making it the biggest box possible?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
The answer is never. You kind of
Never,
always want to open it up more because you kind of always feel that you're more or less in a box.
Yeah.
Man, it's such a pleasure to have you back on the show.
I always love being on here.
You're the
now
first.
It's a new studio as well.
Yeah, I hope
which
you
is
like
quite
it. Nice and cozy.
Yeah.
You're the first guest that came back. Hope
an
you come
honor.
back more.
I was the second ever guest for your
Yeah.
podcast. And now I'm the first guest in this studio.
There we go.
So yeah, it's a big achievement.
I hope to have you back on the show. It's been such a pleasure recording with you. Good
Yeah,
luck with
likewise.
the whole new chapter of your life going on. It sounds very exciting.
Thank you. And hopefully next time I'm on, like, we'll see what happens.
That's such a pleasure. All right. Thank you. Bye, everyone.